Welcome back to another episode of the Pro Series podcast. I'm Eric Dillman, and today is episode 42 with Kevin Stupfel. Kevin is the president of Surface Art Inc. It is a tile company based out of Kent, Washington. We go over everything about his company, what they do, what they provide, and we also go over some topics that he has learned along the way in his career for all entrepreneurs and small business owners. So stay tuned and listen to this episode. But before we do that, please make sure you go over to wherever you listen to this podcast, like, subscribe, and review this podcast. And now I hope you enjoy episode 42 with Kevin Stupfel. Thank you, Kevin, so much for joining me today on the Pro Series podcast. Excited to talk to you about not only your background, but also Surface Art's background and how they became about into the company.
Sure, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I always like to start out on how we kind of met or how we kind of crossed paths. And you reached out to me on LinkedIn, I believe.
Possibly, or commented, I think, on maybe one of your podcasts.
I think that was it. Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch that people actually like somewhat listen or somewhat like notice that the podcast is out there, because sometimes you keep creating it and you don't know if any people are actually liking it. So thank you so much for your kind words.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. No, I mean, I appreciate you pushing the industry forward a little bit as well, right?
Yeah.
I know, your seat in Pennsylvania may seem a little small, but, this industry needs, young, technologically savvy people to push us into the next level, and every little bit helps.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to talk to you. I want to talk about, most people I have on here are design background and real estate background or contracting background, but you have a business background, which is huge, that I think it's a missing puzzle piece for a lot of contractors and designers out there. It's something that I kind of wish I kind of went and got a minor in, or kind of went back to school and actually got a bachelor's degree in business as well, because our field is so business driven. You could do whatever you can with the construction aspect of the design world, but if you don't have any business mind, you're not going to succeed at all.
Yeah, I always equate that to, going to Trusai or Sevisama or coverings, in that tile buying atmosphere. And people always say, it must be so fun. All that beautiful tile, you just get to pick it all. And I'm saying that's the easiest part. I mean, beautiful tile is being made every day, and every factory more or less has beautiful tile. Yeah. But to get it here at the right price, to buy the right amount, to pay your employees, to provide benefits, all the other parts, that's where the business comes in.
Absolutely. So let's get started on, you went to business school, correct?
So, So I graduated undergrad in 2006, small little state school in Washington State with a background in poli-sci and economics, and then a short little stint at a tech company. And then we, as a company, because we were started in 2001, so this brings us to about 2007. I went down to California to kind of bring that brand into the California market and just started from scratch. Bought a Volkswagen GTI, a little thing, and drove around with tile boards and started selling it to the dealer base. That's kind of how we started with the floor covering store, traditional floor covering store. And, one store begets the other, and they speak amongst each other, and your reputation starts widening. And then you get a few hundred on your belt and build a team from there.
Yeah, dang. So I was actually on your website. I was very impressed with, being a designer, large format tiles are huge, especially in like bathrooms and stuff. And I saw that you had a 24 by 48 inch tile. That's insane. You don't really find that a lot.
We have many of them. Yeah. We have probably over 60 of them. And actually most lines that are coming out now are going to have that as a size offering. Wow. I'm not saying that it's going to be completely ubiquitous, but it's becoming more of a standard.
Yeah.
And as the installers become more familiar with how to handle it and cut it and more self-leveling, the importance of that, you're going to see it throughout the house. I think there's a bit of a misconception that you need a large room a huge grand room for that type of tile.
Yeah.
You really don't. I mean, I'm not saying it's meant for a powder room, but put it on the wall and put it into a standard size kitchen.
Absolutely. I'm thinking more of like a shower wall, so it's less grout to clean.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. So, I mean, you carry pretty much everything when it comes to tile. When is your company actually creating the designs of the tile, or are you working with other companies?
Sometimes we'll create the design in partnership with our factories, but a lot of time that'll be a little bit of a back and forth with them. They'll show us some samples, let's say hypothetically in May, and then Tricai is going to be in September, and maybe we'll find the final product at that time and either make the selection yes or no at that time.
Yeah.
But really what we'll do is we have a wide breadth of factories that we work with and trust. Some of these go back 20-year relationships, and I stay at their houses, have dinner with them, know their kids, and trust them to create a quality product that we import.
Yeah, I usually try to get the guests to give some type of advice too that will generally help all designers, business people. And you starting out, you're driving around, basically cold calling all these companies.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for people to start just walking in and start trying to get business by cold calling?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think when I first started my career was in selling copiers.
Oh, wow.
And that's really cold calling because it's a commodity, right? It's something that no one really thinks about. Every company more or less needs a copier or a printer, and you're truly cold calling. And sometimes, you're getting the cops called on you and you get the boot. So you develop a pretty thick skin. So when I went into tile and was quote unquote cold calling these stores, I knew they were already buying tile. And if you could provide something that was of a higher value, or at least a program that distinguished yourself at that when you're making that presentation, then it's really, for me, it wasn't really cold calling. So I would just start out asking the gatekeeper per se and saying, I need some help. Can you help me? Everyone wants to help you, right?
Yeah.
And just say, who can I set an appointment with, to follow up with them and to present my product? Okay. Yeah. There's no harm in that. If you go in and demand a presentation or assume that they have time, then you're probably on the wrong path. But just ask for help. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the main piece of advice that most people struggle with, is asking for help, kind of stepping out of their comfort zone. Yeah. But I think you can't be in sales or anything if you have that belief that they're not going to listen to you, or you can't ask that question.
Yeah. And, even the multi-branch locations, the 20 to 30 location stores, and let's say if it's the owner of that big company, that's the final decision maker, whether a new vendor gets brought in, they usually have a sales background.
Yeah.
And so they'll appreciate a hustler or someone that says, please just give me 10 minutes, because they've been in those shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually.
Usually, yeah.
There's a bad egg in every single thing.
No, I agree. I mean, we have people flying without appointments, talk about cold calling, flying from overseas, that'll just show up at our location saying, do you have 10 minutes? I'm going, well, of course I do. I mean, yes, I have 10 minutes. You flew from Vietnam or something, or whatever it is.
Holy crap.
What do you got? Next time I'm more than happy to set an appointment. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Geez.
Yeah.
I can't believe they do that.
Oh yeah.
So for Surface Art, if anybody's listening, not knowing what your company's all about, what's a quick bio, or what stands you aside from all the other business and competitors?
Sure. So we've been around for about 20 years. We're located primarily in Seattle. We've got a 200,000 square foot warehouse. We primarily deal with, at least what we traditionally started in, was the residential remodel market. So through the dealer base.
Gotcha.
And the showroom, dealers. So we have about 600 of those, and we operate about Colorado, New Mexico, and then west of that to include Alaska and Hawaii. So I think that's about 15 or so states. We have another channel on the builder side, that's single family construction, and a dedicated sales team that then calls on those. Mm-hmm. And then those builders and subcontract through customers, similar to, with showrooms and everything. And then another channel on the commercial side. So we play in all three channels. The product line is extremely deep, and that aligns with our inventory. So that 200,000 square foot warehouse means what's in that display is inventoried in our warehouse. So
Wow.
I look at every night, every single order that's entered, and I look at what's back ordered, and then we measure that according to the total number of lines ordered. And I can confidently say that pretty much every day we're at a 97 to 98% same day fill rate.
Wow.
Yeah. With
So
that, oh, good.
are you having any problem with freight and stuff like the rest of the world?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So no matter how big you are, doesn't matter if you bring in 1,200 containers or 70,000, you're affected by what's going on, but what you need to do is make a decision, going back to the business background, on whether you want to seriously inventory or try to continue doing a just-in-time methodology. And our inventory is up 40% to accommodate for those longer lead times. What we also did a couple years back is carve out about 15,000 square foot portion of our building and build a fabrication department. It's actually a separate company, Arm's Reach kind of sister company, but that has full Italian machinery where we fabricate everything in-house for mosaics, hexes, 2x2s, 3x3s, 3x6 brick, all of our bullnose, 4x24, 3x24, all of our cuttings, so we can cut diamonds or large shape hexes or off-size planks. We do all the meshing and gluing in-house. And then, so we have that entire at our disposal, the entire department there.
So you do, you will do custom sizing for different like mosaic, like if they're doing it in a hotel, something, just want to throw something up on the wall. That's
absolutely. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. And a great use case is going back to the 24x48 and a supply chain issue, right? What if you're out of the 12x24, or you're out of the 24x24? Well, if it's calibrated well and rectified tile, we'll just make it out of the parent size.
That's smart. So you did that before COVID, not knowing that this was all going to happen. Wow, smart.
Correct. Yeah. Well, sometimes you're lucky, but we did it for other reasons besides supply chain issues. I mean, when you have control of your production, and let's say you have a builder that needs to meet a closing, screaming at you because of a shower pan issue, and they need 3 sheets of mosaic. Well, some of our competitors need to outsource that, or they need to wait to Italy. We can drive it, a couple hundred meters away from our headquarters to our own fabrication and mesh it and dry it the same day.
Wow. So you're mostly on the West Coast. Is that what you said?
Western side of the U.S. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. I mean, I'm on your website right now, just looking at
soon to be updated. That it's going to be completely, the backbone's been redone. It's going to be a whole new skin and user interface and a completely new filtering functionality and some proprietary inventory things that we're going to be publishing out here pretty shortly. Oh.
Dang. I mean, I was on your website. We're just going to compliment on how great it is. I spent probably like half an hour on here just
the backbone of that site is a gigantic Excel spreadsheet that's become too cumbersome to manage. And so we put together a product information management system that is now going to be driving the new site. So that's rolling out I was actually just talking to my marketing manager today, and she's pretty confident it'll roll out in 12 days.
That's pretty cool. I'm looking at this tile visualizer thing.
Yeah.
So is this basically a designer could take a picture of a kitchen, plop whatever they want to put in there before they order it?
Yeah, exactly. So it's a third-party provider called Roombo, and we partner with them. And what they do is provide the technology. We upload the SKUs and the visuals to them, and they create the technology for us. What we did on top of it as well is, your traditional displays that are in stores or loose piece samples or whatever. Right now, as we record this podcast, our sales reps are tagging all these boards and tiles with QR codes. So kind of going back to COVID, right? Everyone's familiar with these. Everyone's used them if you've gone out to dinner once or twice. And so this QR code will have not only the retail pricing that's pertinent to that particular markup that retailer wants. So an end user can just scan it and say, okay, that's $5.29, that's $3.99. It will also then have a direct link to that visualizer. So they can scan that QR code, say visualize on the menu option, take a picture of their living room or take a picture of, let's just say, the floor that they're standing on, possibly in the showroom, and kind of see what it actually would look like.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now that you brought up the website, I would love to hear someone who's getting started making their own business and wants to budget for, I don't want like a money, but
sure.
I mean,
kind of list of priorities.
yeah, on marketing themselves with their website or social media. What do you say is best for them?
We started out with a completely rudimentary site in the late 2000s, and I didn't take this role until 2017 when it became the president. But in between, I did push and kind of saw this industry needing some more technology, a higher level of seriousness when it came to visuals. The functionality, especially on the mobile side, I think was really lacking. Everyone thought that people were sitting behind desktops all day long at night, shopping. So my advice to them would say, we don't have a budget for in-depth functionality, and that's really where the price is customization and filtering your attributes for your products. I would focus on beautiful images and mobile functionality.
Yeah.
If I'm only speaking about the website.
Yeah. I mean, that's smart because like me being a designer, I'm always on my phone taking pictures, and most of the time you're in your client's house, you can't bring your computer in. So making sure, I've been on plenty of websites that you look something up on your phone, but I have to go onto my computer to look it up because it's not capable on your phone. You can't see, it won't zoom in, any of that stuff. It makes it almost
and it's also important to know who you are, right? So surface art doesn't sell to the general public, right? But you have to kind of, from a marketing standpoint, let's say if we stay on the website, your site wants to promote that brand, but then it wants to call to action for that user, then to go to your customers.
Oh, smart. Yeah.
Right. So since we're not an e-commerce site or anything like that, which is actually going back to one of your questions, which is one of the ways we distinguish ourselves, especially when we went into markets like California, was we didn't sell direct. We didn't have a showroom that competed with the customers that I was cold calling. And that raised some eyebrows with the owners of those stores quite quickly. But to really know what your business is, if you are a designer focused business, you generally want them to know that you're professional and you create beautiful, end products, and then get them in your showroom, right? You don't have to spend a ton of money doing all this, custom work. Just get them in your showroom. If that's not your model, then do something else. But just kind of know what your goal is before you go into some big gigantic project like a website.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, setting a goal, I feel like most of the time people are kind of just blindly going into their business, trying to figure out, because it's their dream to have their own business and not really actually thinking out and making a process for it. So that's smart. Figuring out your goal and making the website or social media based off of your goals for the company itself.
Yeah. So going back to kind of those QR codes, our goal was to have agility in pricing for both our customers and ourselves, as well as some value added, like the spec sheet embedded into the QR code or the visualizer, and then have that display bring more value to that showroom.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, I want everybody to make sure they make it to your website. Hopefully when this episode comes out, you probably have a new website up maybe.
Or shortly after. I mean, we've been saying this for a while, but how these things go. It's I'm always kind of looking at it and saying, but there's one other thing I think needs to be done. And they go, well, then your timeline needs to change. And, that's where we have a fun conversation. So.
Exactly. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for giving us like a more of business side of this all. This helped out a lot. I think that helped out a lot of people just trying to start out with the technology side of the business. And just giving a more business-minded answers to some of these designer questions I usually have designers ask. So
no, absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you so much. I want to finish off on promoting your company. Just give us what hashtags or website URLs or social media tags?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. So our marketing team's great. They're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all the main platforms there. Surface Art Inc. INC, just like incorporated. Same thing with the URL. So www.surfaceartinc.com.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kevin, for taking time out of your busy schedule. I can't wait to get this out and let everybody know about your business.
Cool. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.